Next on stage is Hamish Blyth from Trilo with a lightning talk.
Sorry, that was actually a very good intro for us. QR codes. Cool. Well, hey guys, I'm Hamish, the founder and CEO here at Trilo, and this is the first talk I've done since COVID. So if I get a dry mouth, sorry. If I stumble, sorry. But I think we've all done that, so let's see how this goes. Anyway, we here at Trilo have built a whole new ecosystem, a way for people to pay people. After all, over the last 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, we've had one core entity of the cards, and we've had things plastered on top of it, left, right, and center, acquirers, fraud, all of this stuff. Fraud's not been added, it's an unfortunate consequence. And so I thought we'd go back into the past of payments and see where we started, see what began, and my phone's just switched off, so I need to turn this back on so I can see the prompts. So to start with, I think we start with dinosaurs. Because, not Visa and MasterCard, they're going to be, but yeah. These guys, did they really transact? Did they really pay each other? Not really, didn't really have coins, didn't have notes or anything, but they transacted and eating each other, as this T-Rex is going to do. Now, one thing that did come after them, though, was shells and sea animals. And that is where we had the first ever time that people, humans, we were actually sending money to each other. We were paying each other for chickens, for cows, for berries and stones and stuff. And these were cowrie shells. They weren't actually this shell here, but that helped at that first injection of commerce throughout the world. We actually still had cowrie shells being used up until only, I think, a few decades ago. They may still be used in certain parts of the Pacific. I need to check that though. And then soon after that, you had, well, not so soon, fast forward about 200,000 years, and then you had coins being made. And that was the first ever time that metal was struck and turned into a coin so that people could give money to each other. Before that, you would have had nuggets and other aspects. And these first came about in 600 BC with the Romans. There were also coins back in Mesopotamia. They had a shekel, which was first used as well with payments. Quite soon after that as well, a lot sooner than I thought when I was looking this up, banknotes started. Now the first ever, there we go, banknotes started. Now the first ever banknote actually was a bit of leather. That was made in China in 118 BC. And that was scribed onto a bit of leather that people would give to each other, and that was the first ever iteration of that note. Then in the 1600s in Europe and also in the UK, the central bank started. And with that, you started having people actually writing down bits of paper, bits of cotton, and giving money to each other. Now, fast forward a bit more, and still quite old, but you then get cards. Now, cards came about in the 1950s, and yet we still use them today. Cards were built before we went to the moon, and yet every day we still use these, which are more powerful than the computer that took us to the moon. And so why do we still use those bits of plastic that were invented before we even went there? So we now come forward to where we are today. And I thought, can I give a bit of a backstory on what we're up to, what our plans are, and where we're hopefully going with this as well. And I think, as Michael said, with the QR code side, there is so much fun that can be had. So we started building Trilo because when I was at uni back in 2017, with my first business, that was a mobile network where you could trade your spare data, and the whole aim there was that you could have a free contract if you were savvy enough. Now, we had two issues. First, we were using the mobile network we were using, I'm not going to mention them, about a month before launch, they pulled the rug out from under us and launched a near identical proposition. And it's like, yeah, that's what you want. But then as well as that, the acquirer that we were working with, we were losing about 68% of our margin just gone. And I had no clue why it was so astronomically expensive and slow and archaic just to get paid. So that just showed those two issues. Firstly, when you're building on infrastructure that is old and that has other parties involved, you are at the sufferance, you're at the, Mercy, there we go. Mercy of the providers. And that just creates an issue where you can't give your customers the best experience possible. But also that when you're using that card world, you're still having to pay interchange, bank fees, and all this malarkey. So put that aside, back in 2018, went out to the West Coast and worked out there, had a lot of fun with Venmo, Cash App. A busker asked me to pay him on Square, which was the first time I'd ever had that, which was very cool. And the other side was that when I was out there, I need to make sure I don't show the number here, because that's what happened, I was using these. And every single time that you go into a shop in the US, pretty much, unless you're going somewhere that's Square, it's all swipe and sign. You hand your card over, they swipe it, take it into the back room, and the amount of fraud that I had on this thing from just a few months of being there was astronomical. Need to put that, there we go. So then came back to the UK in 2019 and stumbled across open banking and realized that with this, you have the ability to build something that is so different, so game-changing. You can build a way that helps merchants and their customers, people, just connect and engage better than ever before. And that because there are no middlemen, no cards, acquirers, none of that malarkey, these businesses, merchants, the people, they can just connect and engage better. They can improve the customer experience. They can drive up conversion, drive up retention. They can make their customer experience, as you were saying, Michael, as smooth and simple as possible. Because the customer, all they do is walk in, scan a QR code, and pay. And also, they can reward them with a boost. So to give them a reason to leave their cards behind alongside a simple experience where the merchant can plant a tree, give some money off, give a free beer. There is one of the partners that we're doing that's doing a free beer. I'll let you know when they go live, and we can all go down to the pub. And we just drive that up. But also, because we do not have any other party, we're not at the mercy of anyone, we can truly change the fundamental workings of this space. We can get rid of transaction fees entirely so that no business, no matter their size, ever has to pay a single penny of what they earn in those fees ever again. And instead, you build out a very simple subscription, which is just gauged off of the number of customers, monthly active customers that business has each month, their engagement with the network. So instead of taxing them on every single penny that goes through, you work with them to build and improve their customer experience, to get the customers back in the door time and time again. And so over 2019, we spent the time figuring out what the hell payments was. It's you guys might all know it quite well, but it is a utterly confusing space. Then 2020, we started building that platform. We've just now actually just raised our pre-seed of $1 million, so we're now kind of rolling out, building out the team, rolling Trilo out throughout the UK, working initially at universities on the POS space and also with some online businesses. And the thing that really excites me is that we have the first time in over half a century to truly change the way that we all live. That we can get rid of these bits of plastic and just give people a far more enjoyable experience. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to pay. We want the thing that we're buying. And you need to make that experience not be there. You need to make it that you can walk into a shop, that you pick up your bottle, that preferably you just walk out, but most likely to begin with, that you scan it and walk out. And that is something that with this change, you can now do that. Well, almost. And you can bring to everyone, whether it's a small business on the street, an online corporate, or anyone in between, that ability to give their customers the best experience you can possibly do, because you aren't throttled by old archaic laws from 50, 60, 70 years ago. And yeah, so that QR code there, unfortunately, I didn't add a payment QR code on there, but you can scan that QR code, get onto the website, and then you can then fund a tree for $5 if you want. But the beauty of QR codes, as Michael was saying, is that they can be ubiquitous. Over the last year and a half, everyone now knows about them. They know how to use them. You pull out your phone when you see one, and you just scan and go. But also, what's really important is making the merchant's life easy. Because one of the issues when you have a scanner that the merchant has to scan on the customer's phone, QR on the customer's phone, is that merchant still has to have a terminal, a scanner, and that operation. The merchants will always have an iPad, a screen, a something. And so if you just give them the phone, give them the QR code, and you make it that the customer just whips out their phone, they open up the camera or the QR scanner, which we all have nowadays. They scan it, that's then done. There's no extra hardware needed for anyone. a business can get online in about 3 minutes. They can take that payment before you walk out the store, and there's no hardware, no software, nothing needed. Everything runs natively on that device. I think I'm about to run out of time. But anyway, it's quite cool. More people have been coming in as I've been speaking, so this has been good fun. I've not had a dry mouth, so that's really good. But we're just starting out, and I'd love to have a chat with anyone who's up. Hopefully I didn't make a complete fool of myself, but that's me.